Yeah, my name is Hormoz Shariat. Ministry name is Iran Alive Ministries, and we use media to get into a close country like Iran, especially satellite, going over the heads of the mullahs into people's homes, sharing the gospel. People come to Christ, and we don't stop there. We train, we disciple people, train leaders, and plant underground house churches. So media for us is a tool, is just the starting point. Yeah.
And tell us a bit about, we'll talk a bit more later about Iran Alive
Yeah.
Ministries, but take us back to your childhood. Were there Christian influences as a child? What was your journey and your upbringing?
Yeah, I was born in an Islamic family. My parents were educators, so they were not really fanatic about Islam, very open-minded. They taught me some basics, but they never forced me. I followed Islam in early years very seriously, but then when I got in my teenage years, I said, this thing doesn't make sense. I just memorize these prayers and repeat them. It doesn't add anything to my life. Let me focus on studies. Let me focus on education. And I had a dream to come to the United States, get a PhD, and be a scientist. That really really consumed my life there. So became very good students. Came to United States. Of course, in '79, I was a young student in Iran. Time of revolution. I was on the streets of Tehran shouting, "Death to America, death to Shah." And of course, I've changed my mind since then. I got saved in America, and I sing about America. I mean, God is with America, and I pray for America. So, yeah, I came to the United States. I was a student at the University of Southern California, getting a PhD in artificial intelligence. And I got interested in spiritual things. I said, look at Islam is taking over the world. I need to maybe have another look at it. You know, maybe I was too young. Maybe there is God and God is with Islam, and let me study it. So if it's true, I will dedicate my life to serving Islam. So I got the Quran. Even though I knew a lot about Islam, I read it very carefully. I tried to be objective. And after I finished Quran, I said, well, it didn't really fulfill my heart. Where is God? How does he affect my daily life? Maybe there is God, but it doesn't relate to my daily life. I'm done. Pursue your dream. But then out of my intellectual pride, may I say, I said, well, what if people ask me, what do you think about God? And I say, yeah, there is no God. If there is, doesn't relate to my daily life. They would say, how did you come to that conclusion? Well, I read Quran. So what else? No other book? That's not research. That's not open-mindedness. So out of my pride, I said, I'm going to get a Bible and read it just to tell people I've read it. I don't think I'm going to find anything new because the most complete religion is Islam and most complete book is Quran. I got a Bible and I said, I'm going to read it in 3 days because I was 16 hours a day. I was just reading, studying. And I read Genesis and then jumped to Matthew. He said, let me read about Jesus. And I wanted to read the whole thing in 3 days. And 3 months later, I went at Matthew 5, struggling with every verse. Who is this Jesus? So after a few months of struggle, and the more I studied, compared Bible and Quran, they didn't match. I thought before that, all religions are the same. And why do they fight? If you really study them, they're all about the same. But the more I studied, they are not the same. So I had to make a choice. Which one is true? Both could not be true. I went to a church in downtown Los Angeles, heard the simple message of the gospel, very simple, and I came to Christ. But that simple message transformed my life, and that got me excited. Being a PhD, you think everything is complicated. You have to really know a lot. And then I realized this simple message a child can understand can transform lives, can heal marriages. It healed mine. And it can transform nations. And I got excited. So that was the beginning of my ministry.
How did people that knew you before respond to your salvation, you becoming a Christian?
When I became a Christian, my family found out, and they were negative. They were making fun of me. Oh, you have a PhD, but you made this dumb decision? You're not thinking, aren't you? I mean, so it was very negative in the beginning that why did you do that? But after a while, when they saw my life transformed, and when I shared the gospel, the good news with them, and I lived it out and prayed for them, over the years, my family members came to Christ. Many of them. Many. I lost the numbers because it went after aunts, uncles, cousins. I don't know all of them who have come to Christ, but the people I started sharing the gospel. But Iranians were not ready those days. So I got a lot of negative response from Iranians. That was many years ago. Right now, they want to know. Right now, they ask me, they pursue me. So the response was negative, but over the years, Iranians became more open. My family came to Christ, but right now is open heaven in Iran. Open heaven. I mean open heaven because I share the simplest message of the gospel, people come to Christ. I share 1 minute, 30-second version of the gospel, people come to Christ.
What were the challenges for you from such a different upbringing, Iran, Islamic influences, to becoming a Christian in America? What was that transition like for you? Such a complete change for you.
It was hard when you change your country, when you live in a new environment, a new culture, you have to adjust. So it was hard, but for me it was exciting, and for many who come. Why? Yeah, you lose your, your comfort of your own culture, but America is amazing country, a great nation for people. Everybody wants to come to America if that's so bad? Because it's a land of opportunities. That's what's different about America. If you want to get an education, if you want to progress, the doors are open. You have to pay a price, but the doors are open. Many Iranians are in America, very successful businessmen, many PhDs, many university professors. Why did they flee Iran? Because there are opportunities here. They paid a little bit price. Of course, Iran right now, the Iranian government is not a big price. Nobody wants to live there. Anywhere, they want to live anywhere except Iran. It's like really a hell kind of living for them. Their lives are endangered, food is not there, opportunities are not there. So a small price for a big gain.
When you first started sharing about your Christian faith, how did that go? Did you make mistakes? Were people responsive?
When I got saved, I was a student. I was a nerd. Let me put it that way. I was more comfortable with books than people, but I got saved, and something in me, which is Holy Spirit, said, "You got to speak up." No, I'm shy. I want to read books. No, you have to talk to people and tell. So it was hard for me to share the gospel, but I could not be silent. When you have the answer to people's problems, when you have the answer to marriage problems, when you have answer for society transformation, and you know it works, and then you're quiet, I feel selfish. I hope every Christian feels selfish if they don't share the gospel, because that's what solves people's problems, internally, family, relationally, and of course with God. So it was hard for me to evangelize. What I did was I forced myself to sign up for evangelism course. That was torture. Took the course, and the teacher would train us, and then we go on the streets. Oh my God, that was so hard for me. So, but with God's grace, we can do it. If I can share the gospel, if I can be evangelist, I think everybody can.
How old were you at the time, and what year was this?
I got saved in 1980, so this is in the 80s. Yeah.
And how old were you then?
I was in my 20s.
Okay.
Yeah.
So You were immediately passionate to share your faith,
Yeah.
overcome your own challenges, shyness. So, what was your journey to the ministry you have today from that point?
Well, I knew I need to share the gospel, and I did. But something happened. My younger brother was in Iran, was arrested, and he was executed, 16-year-old. That really had an impact because he was in jail, 16-year-old, minor political charges, and they were telling my mom, "Oh, I'm going to recently release him. Don't worry, he's okay, he's going to be out." But then when he turned 18, they called my mom, said, "Oh, we just killed him. Come and get his body." And when my mom went to get his body, they charged her. Said, "You have to pay for the bullets. You have to pay before we give you his bodies." And I was a new believer. Just said, God, I prayed for 2 years for my brother to be released, and what happened, and why there is such injustice in this world. What do I need to do? And I had a 2-3 day of mourning, and that's the start of the ministry. That 3 day in a different level. I was witnessing, but I was telling God, this injustice, what do I need to do? What are Christians supposed to do? I want to take revenge. Oh no, you said revenge is yours. I'm sorry. Sorry, I forgot that. I just hate them. Oh no, you said you love your enemies. I can't hate them. So what am I supposed to do as a Christian? Okay, I'm angry. I'm really angry, Lord. No, you can't be angry. You kill people in your heart if you're angry at them. So I said, Lord, can I at least curse and cuss a little so I can feel better? No, you can't even do that. You worship with your mouth. You can't do that. So I said, God, tell me. There is injustice in this world. What, as a Christian, what am I supposed to do? And I felt really strongly the Lord telling me the best thing you can do is to evangelize. First, those who killed your brother are not your enemies. You have one enemy, which is Satan. Those who kill your brothers are victims in the hands of your enemy. So that 3 day transformed my life. Okay, God, I will dedicate my life to sharing the gospel, because that's the only way to bring justice in this world. But God, if I'm dedicating my life, let's go big. Would you use my life to bring 1 million Muslims to Christ? I didn't know what I was saying. I think it was inspired by God, but I made that deal. Okay, I will share the gospel, but use my life. I had no idea how it's going to happen, because it was almost 20 years later when we went on satellite television to start broadcasting. The broadcasting was not there. The opportunities were not there. 20 years later, we go on the air, going over the heads of the mullahs with satellite signal and into people's homes. For the last 20 years, we have been doing that. And for the last 10, 12 years, we've done it 24/7 satellite television.
In those early days of launching this 20 years ago, what were the biggest challenges and breakthroughs to get this started?
The first challenge was nobody was selling us airtime. Christian, because we were the first, wanted to use media, and we couldn't have our own satellite, but we didn't have the money, of course. So we wanted to buy airtime from other channels. Some of them were secular, some of them were political. Neither of them wanted us. Secular channel, we say, we pay you. Sell us 1 hour. No. You're going to hurt our ministry, our business, because our clients are Muslims, and we have a Christian for 1 hour for a little money you're going to give us. We're going to lose a lot. So the first breakthrough was that one of them called us and said, "Okay, we're going to sell you some airtime." And that was an answer to prayer. Of course, later we found out that they were going bankrupt, and they wanted us to pay upfront for the whole year, which we did, and we might have lost our money. The Lord opened the door, and from the day one we were on the air, amazing. People started calling. This is 20 years ago, calling day and night. Some of them had questions, some of them were negative, but most of them were sincerely asking questions, and we led many people to Christ. And that's 20 years ago. Now, it's so different. It's so easy. I mean, if even 20 years ago people were coming to Christ by hundreds, now it's by thousands.
Bring us up to date on what the situation is like in Iran. There's a lot of unrest, particularly over this case of this woman,
Yeah.
and the whole thing of persecution of women in Iran. And how are your broadcasting? How is your broadcast helping people through this unrest time?
Yeah, what's happening in Iran is that the movement against the government and naturally against Islam, because the government and Islam are one. It's an Islamic government. They're implementing Islam. So rejecting the government is the same as rejecting Islam and vice versa. But what has happened, it wasn't just the death of this young woman, which ignited, it's triggered. Something was brewing for the last few years. This ignited something in people's heart to move, do something. And the suffering of 40 some years of oppression has brought the people of Iran to a point that they say, Islam is not our answer, Islam is our problem, and we need to get rid of Islam. So that mindset has been growing, that we need to get rid of this Islamic regime, and even Islam, secularism, and democracy is number one. That's what people are thinking. And that's why they came on streets the last few months, and all the people who have been dead and killed and all that, they want secular democracy. But they have rejected Islam. They want secular democracy. This is the key, because they have rejected Islam, but the heart's still hungry for God. And we are talking about talking about a relationship with God. Now, we use the interest of the day. We, on our channel, when these protests started, we changed our messaging right away. Right away, every day, we changed how we approach people. And we have seen even more people come to Christ during these protests. And we are training Christians to be salt and light during that time.
As you look back on your life, what would you say is the best decision you ever made?
The hardest, but the best, was that when God called me to full-time ministry, I loved my job, doing research in artificial intelligence, and I was paid good money, and I was ministering and planted church, and the church was growing. But God said, I want you to come and focus in Iran. I struggled. I said, God, I'm not a pastor. I'm doing fine. I'm teaching, I'm preaching, I'm evangelizing, planted a church even as I'm doing research. Why should I switch? I'm giving the church good money, good donation. But I felt God telling me over the year and a half that I struggled with that idea, that God is saying, I'm not calling you to be a pastor for a long time. I'm going to do something great in Iran, and I'm giving you the honor to have a part in it. And that's my message to all my friends, everyone. It's because Iran is the Lord. He is doing it. Kingdom belongs to Him. And my challenge to people is exactly that. God is doing something great in Iran, which will impact the whole Middle East and the world. And the challenge is, do you want to be a part of it? Do you want to have the honor to be a history maker for the Lord in the world, starting from Iran, but not finishing with Iran? Iran, according to Jeremiah 49:38, Iran will be a Christian nation, because He says, I will set my throne there. I will set my throne in Elam, which is completely inside the land of Iran. So setting His throne there, He's going to impact the whole world. That's God. So this is the future of Iran. Iran will be a Christian nation, and it will impact the whole Middle East and the whole world. And these are according to the Bible. And God is inviting all of us to have the honor to have a part in it.
You've known as, I don't know if you like this or not, but of the Billy Graham of Iran. You say 1 million Muslims have come to Christ through your ministry. Of those, is there one particular story that stands out for you?
Well, I don't call myself Billy Graham of Iran. And But my answer to that is this: Iran is so ready, Iranians are so ready. If you just share the gospel, you too can be the Billy Graham of Iran. I mean, it's not a big deal to the evangelists in Iran. You just share the Lord's love and the simple message, and they're coming to Christ. My challenge is that this is the time. You know, the history has shown that open countries don't stay open forever. There's a window, and right now there is a window that has a beginning and has an end to have an impact in the world, in the Middle East, through Iran. That's what I'm praying every day. God, give us the strategy and wisdom as how best we can take advantage of this open window in Iran.